Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd Chrisley painfully speaks out about Nick Kerdiles' death. Todd Chrisley has spoken out about Nick Kerdiles' death 2 years after he passed away. This was hard for Todd to talk about. He actually did not want to talk about it at all. However, he knew he needed to, as painfully as it was. Nick was engaged to Savannah and very close to the Chrisley family. So this death was hard on them all. Keep reading to find out more about this situation and what happened. Nick Kerdiles was engaged to Savannah Chrisley. Their relationship was one of the best she had. Her entire family loved him and wanted them to be together. However, they ended up calling off the wedding after their relationship had run its course. This was hard on the family, as they loved him like a son already. About 2 years ago, Nick sadly passed away in a motorcycle accident. He ran a stop sign, got in a wreck, but sadly did not make it out alive. This was extremely hard on the Chrisley family, as they loved him dearly. Todd has not talked about his death until now. Chrisley has painfully spoken out about Nick Kerdiles' death for the first time. He felt like he did not owe anyone to talk about this besides Nick. It was hard for him to speak about, and he said this would be the one and only time he would say something about the situation. Out of respect for the love that we have for him, I will tell you, it was the hardest thing that I have ever dealt with in my life. For those of you who don't know, Nick Kerdiles was one of the finest, funniest, kindest young men, and I so wanted he and Savannah to be married. I wanted grandchildren, and that didn't come to pass. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him. I think I still grieve what could have been because I had always hoped that they would find their way back. Chrisley also revealed that when Savannah and Nick broke up, that did not stop him from being around the family. He still had lunch with Todd, went golfing with Chase, and did everything else. So losing Nick was like losing a son to him, and it was extremely difficult. It seems as though Todd Chrisley did not want to talk about Nick's death because it was hard on him. However, he knew he needed to for fans and for Nick. They were still close even when he and Savannah were not together. Nick still showed up for the family and did not let that go away once he and Savannah broke up. His death was hard on the Chrisleys, and he will forever be missed by them. What do you think about this? Do you feel bad for Todd? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. The Chrisley family has never been shy about living their lives in the public eye. For years, America tuned in to watch the witty banter, raw family arguments, and heartfelt moments that defined Chrisley knows best. But behind the bright lights of reality television, pain has a way of sneaking in. Few moments have struck Todd Chrisley harder than the tragic loss of Nick Kerdiles, former professional hockey player and once fiancé of his daughter, Savannah. When news broke that Nick had passed away in a devastating motorcycle accident, fans around the world were stunned. Todd, who is no stranger to speaking his truth, has now opened up about the profound grief, shock, and sense of helplessness that followed the loss. His words are heavy, carrying both sorrow and an aching love for a young man he once considered part of his family. A father's heartbreak. Todd Chrisley is often remembered for his sharp wit, strict parenting, and his ability to deliver a sarcastic one-liner with perfect timing. But when it came to Nick, Todd's demeanor softened. He saw in him not just Savannah's boyfriend, but a man trying to find his way in the world, a man who wanted to love deeply and live fully. Speaking out about Nick's death, Todd's voice cracked under the weight of emotion. There are no words that can describe the pain of losing someone so young, someone who had his whole life ahead of him. Nick wasn't just Savannah's fiancé. He was like a son to me. He was family. And now he's gone far too soon. It was the kind of grief that shakes a man to his core. Todd, who prides himself on protecting his children, admitted that this was one moment where he could do nothing. No amount of money, no connections, no power could bring Nick back. Remembering Nick beyond the headlines. Nick Kerdiles' life was more than the story of a tragic ending. Todd made it clear that he wanted people to remember Nick for who he was, not just how he died. Nick had a heart as big as the world, Todd shared. He cared for people, sometimes more than he cared for himself. He loved hard, and when he walked into a room, he carried this quiet strength that made you feel like everything was going to be okay. He recalled family dinners where Nick would sit at the table, laughing with Nanny Faye or teasing Grayson about sports. He remembered how Nick and Savannah once dreamed about building a life together, about raising children, about carving out their own path beyond the cameras. And while that relationship didn't last, Todd never stopped rooting for Nick. Even when Savannah and Nick went their separate ways, I told him that he would always have a place in our family. I meant that, and I still mean it now. Faith in the face of tragedy. For Todd, faith has always been an anchor, especially now, as he and Julie continue to navigate the storm of legal battles and incarceration. Speaking on Nick's death, Todd admitted that this tragedy tested his faith in ways he never imagined. I asked God why. He said bluntly, "Why take someone so young? Why put Savannah and all of us through this pain? But I have to believe that God's plan is greater than ours. I have to trust that Nick is in a better place, that he is finally at peace." Faith, for Todd, isn't about having all the answers. It's about clinging to the belief that even in the darkest hours, light will break through. That doesn't erase the grief, but it gives him strength to endure it. A message to Savannah. Of all the Chrisleys, Savannah has carried the heaviest burden since Nick's passing. Their relationship, though complicated, was one of love and genuine connection. Todd spoke with tenderness when addressing his daughter's heartbreak. "I see my little girl trying to smile through the pain," he admitted. "I see her posting tributes, holding on to memories, and I just want to take the hurt away. But I can't. All I can do is remind her that Nick loved her with all he had. And I can tell her that it's okay to grieve, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to hold on to the love they shared." Todd confessed that he worries for Savannah's healing. Losing someone you once planned to marry is a grief unlike any other. But as a father, he vowed to stand by her side, to remind her that love never dies. It simply transforms. A lesson in fragility. Nick's death has left Todd reflecting on life's fragility. As someone who has faced his own share of battles, Todd admitted that this tragedy has been a sobering reminder of how quickly everything can change. One day you're talking about tomorrow, and the next day, tomorrow doesn't come, he said. That's the reality. Life is fragile. We take it for granted, thinking we'll always have more time. But Nick's passing has reminded me to hug my children tighter, to say I love you more often, and to never assume that tomorrow is promised.